Well, hey everybody, it's Maylee Thomas with Texas Homegrown Music, and today's guest is this beautiful man right here, Russ Hewitt. And Russ, I've been wanting to get you in ever since Jocelyn turned me on to your stuff, and of course we have a little bit of a kindredness because you just did a video at our place here at the Guitar Sanctuary, which is just gorgeous, and I can't wait to share the story behind it. But for those that are listening that aren't familiar with your music, and by the way, my husband and I listened to your stuff this morning. Oh, nice. I was dancing around in the bathroom. He said, "Oh my gosh, it reminds me of an album I used to listen to called Thursday Night in San Francisco." With
Saturday night, or Friday night.
I guess there's a Thursday night and a Friday night, and anyway, it's Paco and Al and John, yes, and so he said, "Oh my gosh, I love that guy's sound," and so I even did a little video and sent it to him this morning and said, "Honey, this music makes me want to learn to dance." So,
well, that's the ultimate goal. You know, it's writing music that, you know, for someone who doesn't know me or doesn't know any of my previous stuff, that can listen to it and enjoy it. You know, it's with how I write my music, I always start with guitars, but when I produce it and put it on the records, it's always drums and bass heavy. Okay. So, you know, if you're inclined to dance, you get the groove behind it.
I've spent a lot of time in the last several years in a city called San Miguel de Allende. And going dancing there at night, and when you get 3 or 4 guitarists together and they start playing that, and it is totally driven by a really definitive beat and rhythm, kind of makes you want to salsa and all kinds of stuff. So it just, your music makes me happy.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I just love it, and I'm definitely going to be listening to it a lot, just especially when it's gloomy outside and I want to try to pick myself up. But I want to get back to that. But first, I kind of want to give people an idea of where you came from and what drove you to do this style of music. I read that you started playing guitar when you were 11, I think?
I did. I have an older brother who's 4 years older than me. Okay. And as most younger brothers do, he started playing guitar, so of course I had to get the guitar. And, you know, he was a lot better than me. He had nicer equipment and so forth, and I had a cheap Hondo guitar, so I just had it around. I kind of messed around with it a little bit. The friends I was hanging out with at the time also kind of got the guitar, so. But it wasn't until he actually quit the guitar and sold me all of his good equipment.
It sounds very similar story. I don't know if you know Andy Timmons, but very similar with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his older brother was playing, and he picked it up, and his older brother, you know, Andy was not as interested until he started playing a little bit more with better sounding stuff.
It makes a huge difference, you know, because it was an easier playing guitar. The amp sounded incredible. At that time, you know, now my brother had quit, so there wasn't a competition, not that there really was before, but now I was kind of free to do my own path. And it just made all the difference in the world, you know. I just took to it. You know, by the time he quit, I was about 14. And then that's when I took to it and hadn't looked back since.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Weatherford, Texas. Okay. So that's about 20 minutes outside of West Fort Worth, and it's blown up now, but at the time it was population, you know, just under 13,000, so small country town.
And do you go back and play there?
Well, I haven't played there. I've gone back. There was, I don't know if I would call it famous, but there was a pizza place in Weatherford that I worked at for many years. A lot of people worked at. And a lot of people that work there are actually still good friends. So we would get together. The guy that ran the place, Roger Gazard, who just recently passed away, he's been a pillar of the city. And so he just would bring everybody together, and it was cool to visit. It's been a couple of years since I've been there, but yeah.
Well, it has to be beautiful for them to see you explode like you have, and there's no way that anybody there can't recognize the talent behind you and what you're doing and writing, and it's just phenomenal. But I want to talk about specifically right now this new video that you just released in the last couple of weeks, and the song that you wrote about your mother, right?
My mother, yes. So on my second album, which came out 2011, I wrote a song for her. After my dad's passing, she started doing ballroom dancing. And it's something she had never done before, but it's something she had always wanted to do. And it was great for her. It kept her fit, kept her busy, occupied, a whole new social group of friends and so forth. So as a surprise for my second album, I wrote her a tango, which was called Tango for Anne. And she loved it, showed it off to her friends. She was very proud and happy. But what it is a traditional tango. So it was long, it was about 5 minutes long. And what I had noticed in the years following is when I would go to her, every time she would visit or come down, I'd take her to one of these dance classes and so forth. And they didn't particularly want to play that song. And I was trying to figure out what the deal was. And again, it was too long and it was too traditional. So there's actually a style called Nuevo Tango or Neo Tango, which is it's pioneered by a couple of groups, Baja Fondo, Gotan Project, composer named Astor Piazzolla. And what it is it brings in modern elements to the traditional tango. So it's, you mix in electronic type of beats and sounds. And so what I noticed when I was with my mom in her dance classes, all the songs they played were heavy beats, almost like AC/DC type of drums.
Okay.
So I figured, okay, well, most of the people there, they're beginners, and so they need the heavy beat. And so what I wanted to do was
kind of incorporate that to
bring it all together. So remix the song, make it shorter. I brought in an accordionist, so we kind of play off each other. I brought in the heavy electronic beats. And so I wanted to pit it out and was like, well, I want to do a video to surprise her. And came across these incredible Argentinian dancers that actually specialize in this Nuevo Tango style.
Okay.
And so my mom, during this time of just kind of formulating what I want to do in my head, and my mom showing me pictures of how she used to look when she was younger, pictures of my dad when they first got married. And then I had an idea of getting actors to portray them as they looked
when they were younger.
When they first got married.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so in the video, the couple that's coming in to walk are technically my parents as they just got married. Oh. The guy that's wearing the wedding band is my dad's actual wedding band I got after his passing. And then so I'm on stage, we got the dancers coming in doing the routine. And at the end of the video, it's revealed that the actors are my parents. And then I went to visit her about a month ago, and I shot some video of her as she is today. So, and this was under the guise of, yeah, you know, let's just do some video and so forth. So at the very end of the video is her dancing and kind of showing her moves too.
Oh my gosh, that's so precious. Well, I watched it, and of course I love it. And even if you can't dance, you watch it and you just think, okay, I want to do that, right? It's so sexy and beautiful, and I don't know, I just love to watch dancing anyway. And a lot of people do. I don't know. I remember when Dancing with the Stars came out several years ago, it was just catapulted, you know, as far as people watching it, because people just like to watch people dance.
Oh, right? Yeah. Well, I would get the updates when I would call Mom. She goes, Dancing with the Stars is on tonight, or who was winning, or who was doing what. So I'm fully aware of everything.
Obviously, you played this for her did you bring it over and play it, or did you just say, "Mom, this is out. I want you to watch it"? How did you reveal it to her, and what was her reaction?
Yeah, I did a couple things. So the video was done, except for obviously her live part when I went to visit her. So I presented it to her. I had a couple other videos I wanted to show her. So my brother had come into to town with his wife, and so we all sat in the living room, and then I filmed her as one of the reaction film, and then we just sat down. I was like, hey, let's just watch this, and then, then I showed it to her, and then, I mean, it was the intensity, like she was like just studying in it, and so she loved it.
As a mom, I can tell you that there's nothing more beautiful than for your child to be creative on something that's that personal. And how beautiful for you, Russ, to have done that for your mom like that and have that forever to...
Yeah, she's very proud. And she would, on occasion, when we talk, she would be like, if your dad was around, he'd be very proud of you and blah, blah, blah. So she's, she beams about it, and it makes her happy.
Did they get to see you? I never know how you feel as an artist. Do you feel like they got to see, your dad got to see you at a pinnacle in your career?
He saw, he was supportive from the very beginning. In fact, when I was 16, I had a choice. My dad was like, you can get a car or you can get this new guitar. And so I chose the guitar. He's like, okay.
That is a true musician right there. So it's Tango Ann, and there is a video. And if you're watching the show, obviously you're going to see the video. For those that are listening on the podcast, I implore you to go and watch this video. It's just gorgeous. It's just beautiful. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some other things that he's done that's tremendous, playing with a symphony and just all kinds of stuff. So we're with Russ Hewitt. If you're just listening, it's Texas Homegrown Music with Maylee Thomas, and we'll be right back after we play Tango Ann. So we're back and with Russ Hewitt, and so I know that I tried to describe it, and I looked online to see how you tried to describe it, because your style is definitely your own. It's a melding of a lot of different techniques.
Oh yeah, I steal from everybody.
Well, don't we all? Yeah, there's, I mean, here's what we know about music. As long as it's been going on, there's nothing that's original. We're all emulating something that we've heard, influences that we've had, and we want to believe that we're making them our own, which we are, because they're from our soul and our fingers and our creativity. But I always used to get upset when people would say, "Gosh, that sounds so much like the other song," or "That sounds so much like this song or that song," and I want to say, well, of course it does, because that's the input that we have. But as far as your style, and it's interesting because I did not know that you played rock music. I thought maybe you had started out in playing this kind of.
Well, that's good if I can fake it enough
But you're not
to
faking
fool
it,
you.
and
So.
you know you're not faking it, Russ. But tell me, what was it that really made you do the switch? I know that you said you felt like the kind of rock thing was. Not that it's dying down, but for you, you felt like you had more, I don't know, maybe you felt like you were able to shine more in this particular style. I think that probably it opens up a new audience.
Oh no, absolutely.
That as soon as you say rock or Aussie or metal or anything, you're gonna lose some people, right?
Sure.
And it's unfortunate because a lot of those guys have been classically trained.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I know Ozzy's, talks about how he wishes that he would have done more in classical music. But I've heard interviews with several of them on different occasions where they talk about the classical influence. Stylistically, obviously, because of what you do, I was so honored to be able to listen to a pure flamenco player in Spain last December in a beautiful church.
Wow.
And I fell in love with it, and I asked George about it, and he said, well, honey, there's a lot of players that are doing it, but not many of them that are actually staying pure to that style.
Right.
Because it is a particular
you have
thing.
to
And
start
I actually
at
like the melding of it. So tell me about that and how you kind of landed on this particular way of playing.
Sure. So, after the last rock band broke up, the thought of going back into a practice room with a whole new band, writing all new stuff again, after the last one, it just kind of sucked the life out of me. And then, again, the producer's like, well, we should explore this style. Well, when he suggested it, I had never written any original music in this style. It was still just doing cover stuff. So I sat down, and being very familiar with the other artists in this genre, I wanted to create something that found my own niche where I just wasn't even copying them. So the first song that I wrote, which is actually going to be the third song you're going to play today, was Baja El Sol. So after I wrote that, I kind of felt that I could bring something to this style. And ironically enough, a lot of the artists that play this style used to be rock players. Rodrigo and Gabriela were in a heavy metal band. Omar Liebert used to be in the rock band. Jesse Cook used to be in a rock band. Even the Struns and Farrar guys used to be in rock bands. So, but with the style, it's a little confusing. I kind of can fit a lot of different worlds. I explain it sometimes as Spanish guitar. Sometimes it's world guitar or world jazz. Sometimes referred to as Nuevo Flamenco, which isn't traditional flamenco, but it's just a hybrid of everything. So with my genre, what I'm able to do is just pull from everything. So I've got Brazilian influence with bossa novas and samba songs. I've got Cuban influence. Mm-hmm. I've got traditional flamenco influence. I've got rumba influence. So anything that I think has a cool beat or groove, I'll take that and just kind of meld it into my own stuff. So what I do differently is I still think of everything in a song form. So, and what I mean by that, you've got an intro, verse, sometimes pre-chorus, chorus, repeat, sometimes bridge, solo, and so forth. So in traditional jazz, you'll get like the melody or the head, and then you'll have 5 minutes of solos, and then you'll have the melody and the head again, and then that's it.
I know all about the jazz thing, and not as much as I should, but my dad was a big jazz listener and always wanted me to sing jazz, and one of these days I'll probably do a little bit of something just in his memory. But you know, it's one of those things where if you're familiar with the song at all as a musician, you go in and you sit in, and they gave you a ride, and you can just go. You could leave and come back.
Right. Yeah.
And,
which is great as a player, and if you love that style, but as a general listener, as somebody who doesn't know, again, your stuff or the music, it's too much to keep their attention.
Yeah.
So generally my songs, 5 minutes or under, they follow a strict song form to bring back, you know, again, melodies, and I try to write as catchy of a chorus as I can.
do you ever write lyrics?
I don't have a talent for lyrics, and I don't have a talent for singing, which is
melody,
why
you do have a talent for singing. You're just doing it on the guitar.
yeah you don't want to hear me sing.
You are. You're singing with the guitar strings. But listening to your stuff, because I'm that person that when I write with someone, a lot of times they'll send me the music and I'll write the melody in the song. That's how Andy and I write together most of the time. But I hear some things all the time. I'm like, he needs to put some lyrics to some of that stuff. Says the singer in the band.
Right. Well, I've had people offer to put lyrics to my stuff. I was like, I might actually explore that at some point.
Well, I'd love to see you do it at least a few times, just so that it could get you even more airplay, because I think your music is just gorgeous and beautiful and so energizing. And like I said, it puts you in a mood where you have to smile, even on a sad song.
That's perfect. Again, that's the ultimate goal. I think as musicians, particularly guitar players, they forget they're writing for an audience. It's easy to write for yourself and be self-indulgent. It's like, oh, I want to do this, and this would be cool, and they forget that you're writing music to be enjoyed by people. So, again, the fact that you wasn't familiar with my stuff, and then you found enjoyment and that you liked it, then that's a mission accomplished.
So much. I want to play this segment. I want to play the song Lydia that you did with the Irving Symphony. And how was that for you?
That was a bucket list. When I write music, even off the first album, I would envision with an orchestra, where they could double stuff the strings and the cellos, and I would envision it bigger. I'm a huge Yanni fan, and Yanni, his orchestrations, they're beautiful just as solo piano pieces, or they can become bigger. And sometimes in a songs, it's a lot of that. So with Lydia, which was off my first album, I actually envisioned it with an orchestra. And a couple of years ago, I had the incredible opportunity to play it with them. And it was amazing. Oh,
it is just gorgeous and beautiful. And I like you, I love adding strings to anything. I don't know what it is. It speaks to my whole soul when I hear strings playing along with stuff. So I absolutely love this, and I want to share it with everybody right now. And I just want to tell you, Russ, that I am so encouraged by this, by you wanting to bring this type of music to Texas, and being from Texas, and I love it, and I love my job. I love being able to introduce people to different artists, but especially someone like you that comes out of Texas and brings this, beautiful world sound to our state. So, and to the world, of course, because I know you travel a lot. But I love it, and I can't wait to share it with everybody. So this song is called Lydia, and it's with the Irving Symphony, and it's a beautiful video as well, but the audio is just it just captures you. So when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more with Russ Hewitt, but you're listening to Russ Hewitt and the song Lydia. So, Russ, what a treat it's been having you here today. But I want to talk a little bit about where people can find you. I know that you've been playing at a restaurant in Dallas for years.
Right.
Are you still doing that gig?
I'm still doing that. You know, obviously before COVID, I was doing a ton of private events and shows and so forth. I'm always online. Russ Hewitt Music is the website.
And it's RUSSHEWITT.
So I'm on Spotify, Pandora. I've got a YouTube channel. So, you know, any of the streaming, iTunes, any of that stuff.
You've also written for a magazine, haven't you? Didn't you have a little?
I did. It's for about a year and a half. I did a guitar column for The Sound Guitar Magazine, which was great. You know, they've stopped publication, but it was.
So
great.
you're kind of a gear techie guy too.
I wish I could fake it.
Oh, come on. You've been telling me all day that you've been faking everything. I'm like, dude, you're not faking anything. This is for real the deal, you know. But so well, I can just tell by the way you're talking about the music that you probably are one of those people that really do a lot of research on different sounds and instruments. And,
yeah.
you know, I can't even imagine, you know, do you have a pretty good little plethora of guitars that you...
I've got a ton of guitars. You know, in songwriting, I love the art of songwriting. I love breaking it down and analyzing it. And, you know, if I hear something, regardless of the genre, it could be a pop song. If there's a cool little change or something they do, I'm like, oh, I'll listen to it, I'll break it down, I'll see what they did. You know, if it's a key change or a borrowed chord or something funky, and then I'll just make a mental note of it. So,
Well,
yeah,
I can tell that you're one of those guys that you methodically think things through, right?
yeah.
So we're gonna play Baja del Sol. El Sol, sorry, Baja El Sol. Like, so is it something the sun? What is it?
Under the sun.
Under the sun, yes. So this was with the band. So tell me about that. Was this just a group of guys that you had been playing rock music with, or did you put them together for this style of music?
I put them together for the video and the song that's going to be shown. I can get away with doing solo stuff, duo stuff, trios, all the way up to an 8-piece band.
Okay.
So for this song, Baja El Sol, for the video, I actually did a big concert at Sherman Bible in Sherman, Texas, and I was able to have a big 8-piece band there.
Nice.
So I had 2 percussionists, drums, violin, guitars, bass, the whole deal. So with this song is with the full band.
Well, it's so fun, and I love it, and I know you're going to enjoy it. And I just want to encourage you, look up Russ, get his music, and also reach out to him, because he could do some really cool things for your city, for your company, for your parties. You know, it's going to cost you, because this guy's like the real deal, but it'll be worth it. And I want to have you at the Sanctuary. I mean, we've got to have you do a show here. And,
absolutely. Well, I'm scheduled for the 3rd time, because the first 2 got moved because of COVID. So I'm scheduled for February 20th.
Okay.
Opening for Trace Bundy, and
okay.
It should
well,
be a
I hope
blast.
we can pull that off.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
I miss seeing shows. Obviously, everybody else does too with COVID, but we're going to get through this thing.
Absolutely.
And I just appreciate you coming in and being a part of my little show and,
my
and
pleasure.
sharing your music with us.
Absolutely.
And, the Guitar Sanctuary guys absolutely love you. And when they found out you were coming in, they were like, "Oh my gosh, he's like really good." I said, "I know."
That's
so
awesome.
Anyway, thank you so much, Russ.
My
and
pleasure.
I hope you guys will check him out. Russ Hewitt Music. He's on Apple, Spotify, all those different places, and his YouTube channel as well. So thank you.